All right, we've already got some week 3 injuries to report on, the Cincinnati Bengals being among some of them, and the Indianapolis Colts are actually good. We'll talk about it all here next on No Buts About It. What's up, everyone? It is I, Josh Butts of No Buts About It, fan of the 2-0 Bengals. We'll get to them here in a little bit. We also have Chus here, who is in his basement in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's been a while since I've said that, but it's been true nonetheless. He is a Steelers fan.
You said it last week.
Did I say it last week? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
I don't know. He's just stuck in his basement. Piper's picks, for those who don't know, who didn't watch the short, I'm going to be donating any money Piper makes off of her picks to animal shelters around the country at the end of the season. She's at $10 so far, so she did pretty good. So good on Piper. But yeah, we encourage you to donate to your local animal shelters. And Chus and I were having a discussion before we hit record, and it's a very, very deep discussion.
To an extent, I guess. I think Josh took it a little bit more to heart than I did, but
I'm fat, so this is an important topic to me. It started as a sandwich discussion, and then Chus dropped a definition for what fast food is.
Okay, so you're gonna drop that. Okay.
I want to know what the people think. We're a democratic show here. The people's votes matter. What is your definition of fast food? And don't try to change it now that we're...
I'm not. But what I said was... Stop looking at me like that. For the people that are listening, he's giving me a weird look. Anyway, what I defined it as is... You don't have to cover your... It doesn't matter. What I defined it as was, if you can see the kitchen, if you can see them cooking the food, it's technically fast food. And Josh said, what about hibachi? Which is kind of crazy because it's a good point. And I'm not going to argue that. But how I've always looked at it is as I looked it up as well, there's different types of fast food. And then there's like fast restaurants, which would include, like, for people that know, like Panera Bread, like the restaurants and stuff that like have like quicker food service and stuff like that are typically not restaurants, they're fast restaurants. I forget, it's a whole thing. But regardless, I've always looked at fast foods. If you can see the kitchen, if you can see them cooking the food or making the food, it's fast food. So it didn't matter. And we were discussing sub sandwiches, and we jumped on that topic, and we were talking about what he likes to eat because he was trashing my take on saying that Jersey Mike's is a very good place to eat subs. And then I asked him just in general where he liked to eat fast food wise. And then somehow we started arguing about what is and isn't considered fast food because of hibachi being like a weird outlier in my definition. So Josh is a very good debater. He's won a lot of debates from what I remember him telling me back in college. He said that he was a good debater back in high school. So Josh, would you like to tell us what your favorite sandwich place is? Like sub sandwiches.
I personally
hoagies,
like Firehouse.
Whatever
Firehouse subs, because they donate to local first responders every sandwich. However, I also really like Jimmy John's because they are freaky fast. And they were really good. I went there on Monday? Monday I went there, and the dude gave me my sandwich before I had even paid for it. And that was just like probably not the best business practice, but it was so good. It was such a good sandwich. But before we hit record here, I did make a sandwich out of like some leftover bacon we had and some lettuce on sourdough with mayonnaise. And I think we need to, as a society, get back to having more homemade sandwiches, because that sandwich was amazing. It had cottage cheese on the side. Oh my, some sweet tea. I felt so American in that moment. It was the most patriotic meal I've had in ages.
I don't disagree though. I've had my fair share of homemade subs slash hoagies, and sometimes they're arguably better. And honestly, I mean, anything homemade is better, but it was better than anything that I probably had outside, like in any of the other places, whether it's at a pizza shop or at a sub place or at any other random restaurant. I mean, you're not wrong there, but needless to say, Josh is team Firehouse and Jimmy John's. I'm team Jersey Mike's and DeBella subs.
I
So
I truthfully do not know what are you saying. Cabela's, like
DeBella's subs.
Cabela's. I don't know what that is,
DeBella's.
but I personally just think Jersey Mike should spend more money on learning how to make a sandwich
What
than
do you
on
mean?
Danny DeVito and Eli Manning. So,
I
unless I will 100% sell out and change my tune if Jersey Mike's wants to sponsor the show. I'm not that passionate about it, but Jersey Mike's, if you want to come sponsor us, I'll
Jersey
take
Mike's
it.
is very good. They have some very good sandwiches. I mean, come on. I mean,
They're just so
they're good.
soggy. If you get any sort of sauce on them, they get really soggy quickly.
Well, yeah, I mean, but if you get it Mike's way, of course, they're going to add the juice. That's what it's
I
called.
don't
They
want
add the
my
juice.
bread to just be a mush, though.
Then
Anyway,
don't ask for the juice.
I want the juice.
If you want the juice, you're going to get it soggy. I don't know what to tell you.
Anyway, let us know what your favorite sandwich place is down in the comments. Also, I won the debate. Make sure people know that I won the debate about what fast food is because hibachi. Anyway, we got some injuries around the NFL. So we're going to talk about some of these more extensively than others, but let's just quickly go over just the important ones for fantasy football. Justin Fields was ruled out today with a concussion. That means that Garrett Wilson's stock will likely drop. You do have Tyrod Taylor throwing to him, but I do think they will likely go with more of a run first scheme, which they tend to do anyway with Justin Fields. But yeah. JJ McCarthy is also out with an ankle injury week 3 against the Bengals. So that could be interesting for reasons we'll talk about later. Jaden Daniels is questionable with a knee injury. He's not been ruled out yet. However, Marcus Mariota is preparing to play if Daniel Jones or if Jaden Daniels is not able to practice Friday, which Dan Quinn seems to say is the cutoff. Running backs wise, Aaron Jones, he's going to be put on IR, which moves up Jordan Mason, and I believe the Vikings are planning on signing Cam Akers back to the team. So that's another Vikings injury that we'll talk about here in a little bit. Wide receivers, obviously, Jaden Reed is out with that collarbone surgery, 6 to 8 weeks. Jawan Jennings, which the 49ers have already just been killed by injury. George Kittle's out. Brock Purdy's also out. But Jawan Jennings is day-to-day with a hamstring injury, so that's something to watch. Brian Thomas Jr. is out, but wasn't on the week 2 injury report. This is a very confusing one because he was questionable, but then he wasn't, and then he just, I don't know. Just watch Brian Thomas Jr. because his injury status has been up and down, and people are getting mad at Liam Cohen because of it. Chris Godwin is practicing, but he likely won't return yet. Xavier Worthy is expected to play week 3, which is big after he kind of got bulldozed by Travis Kelce accidentally. And then Jaden Waddle is a limited participant as well. So just some notable injuries. Some of those we're going to talk about here a little bit later in the show. Chus.
Hi.
The Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
I have some questions.
Sure. What are your questions?
I lost you there for a second. What'd you say?
Yeah, no, I just said, yeah, go ahead, Josh. Yeah, I lost you as well, and then I just heard your voice.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, I lost. We lost connection for a second. We're back. Anyway, so what's going on with the defense? You guys are like playing like the Bengals defense last year.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's tough to kind of compare the defenses just because, anytime that I like to mention a defensive or a division rival in comparison, I get yelled at. I mean, I compared the wide receiver room if they had a Tyreek Hill to the Minnesota Vikings, that they would be kind of a saturated wide receiver market, kind of like the Green Bay Packers. And I got freaking yelled at in the comments. So by all means, I wasn't the one that said it, but the Steelers defense is kind of looking like the Bengals defense last year. So Josh was the one that said it, not me. It wasn't me. So, yeah, so more or less, I don't really know what's going on. I think it's really strange that the defense has just kind of crumbled. And I sometimes like to argue the idea that maybe really, people like to think that it wasn't him, but I sometimes wonder if maybe Minka had more of a glue to this defense than teams or people or fans or teams or whoever it is are letting up. Because you look at our defense in the years past with Minka. Yeah, maybe he wasn't producing enough. Maybe he wasn't the same Minka he was a couple of years ago when we first got him. But if you look, we literally lose him one time. Like, he's not here this season. We lose him for the one season, this season. And this defense has all of a sudden let up 2 30-plus point games, which we have, I think, only did once last season. Insanity. And our guys are looking washed. They're looking old. It's sad. It really is sad. I mean, yeah, Jalen Ramsey has had a couple good plays, but other times he's gotten cooked. And to be completely honest, this whole defense has gotten cooked. If I'm being honest, I think looking back on this trade now, I don't think the Minka trade should have happened. I don't know what they were thinking. I know they wanted to try to beef up the cornerbacks and stuff like that. But at this point, this defense is getting paid like probably millions of dollars. Not even probably. It is getting paid millions of dollars, but it is top 5 defense getting paid. It's supposed to be a top 5 defense, like production-wise, on the field. And somehow, some way, we are letting up 30-plus points to the Jets, who just got shut out. Or, well, not completely shut out, but like pretty much shut down by the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, I mean, it was like 30-3 at one point. It was pretty big. And then, of course, to the Seattle Seahawks, which I'm not saying the Seattle Seahawks are a bad team offensively. I just don't think that we should be letting up 30-some points to the Seattle Seahawks when this team is really, really good. You let it up to the Buffalo Bills. You let it up to the Baltimore Ravens even. You could even argue somebody like the Minnesota Vikings, or you could make the argument for some of these teams. But Seattle is not one of those teams that you should be able to make the argument for. And this defense is just letting up hundreds of yards on running backs, and then they can't stop anybody on wide receivers. And I just don't understand what's happening. So you lean back on the offense, which, to be completely honest, I mean, I don't think Aaron Rodgers looked great in week 2, but under the circumstances with his offensive line and being under pressure 90% of the time with this stupid freaking bad offensive line, he's doing pretty okay. He's doing okay. He's not doing amazing, but would anybody thrive under this offensive line? Probably not. And I don't blame Arthur Smith, because the offense is very involved. It's very different from a Matt Canada offense. I'm not very scared about this offense at all. The problem is I don't think that if the defense can keep up, that the offense is going to be able to bounce back. And it's a lot better shape than it was under like a Kenny Pickett quarterback offense or the years past. But I think the problem is the offensive line is not holding right. And so Aaron Rodgers just gets freaking slammed or has to throw under pressure. And then it just kind of crumbles. And we watched that against the Seattle Seahawks game. I mean, don't even get me started on Caleb Johnson and that whole debacle. But I think that I'm not as worried about the offense as I am about the defense going into week 3. I mean, this offense, although I don't like that Arthur Smith likes to pull guys, Jaylen Warren could freaking, be the best player of all time and have like a 100-yard touchdown from the goal line, and he would still pull him the next play. Yeah, it wouldn't matter. Like they're Arthur Smith likes to get other people involved, and I appreciate that. But like, you might as well keep the hot players in. You might as well keep the offense rolling. If one player is good, you might as well keep them in. And they do that a lot with the running backs. They try to throw in Kenneth Gainwell. I think Jaylen Warren kind of really focused more on the role as a running back one this game than he did last week, where they really were trying to split time with Kenneth Gainwell. Nothing against Kenneth Gainwell, but I don't think that we should be putting him at running back one. You got to put Jaylen Warren at running back one, especially since Caleb Johnson has not panned out in the absolute slightest. Put Jaylen Warren at number one. But yes, this offense, I don't think it's amazing, but I think it's better than we've had. But it's not going to be able to shine with this offensive line. And it's definitely not going to be able to shine if the defense is letting up stupid points. And it's sad to watch because we literally have had the reverse. If we have games like the Jets on offense, like when we played on offense, if we had that type of offense and the defense that we've had even in 2024 or 2023, where we were letting up 16 points, winning by just field goals and stuff like that, you win 16-10. If you're allowing 10 points, 14 points a game, you're a Super Bowl contender. You're genuinely a Super Bowl contender. But for whatever reason, the Steelers decided that they were going to call back to the 2017, 2018 eras when our defense was stinky and our offense was booming. But instead of having the offense be booming, they're having the offense be slightly above average and the defense be poopy. And it's just a tough look right now. And I'm really worried because, to be completely honest, looking at the next stretch of games, they're all relatively winnable. You have a bunch of backup quarterbacks that you're going to be playing, minus Drake May, of course. The New England Patriots are a beatable team for this Pittsburgh Steelers team, but we always lose against the Patriots. No matter how good or bad this team is, they always lose against the Patriots. And we're going to Gillette Stadium. We're going to lose. Then you go against the Vikings in Dublin, Ireland. You're not playing J.J. McCarthy more than likely. Are you going to win that one? And then I think it's bye week, and then you play the Browns. And the Browns are the Browns. You should win that game. And then the week after that, it's going to be the Cincinnati Bengals with Jake Browning, which that's in what, Paycor? Is that Paycor? Is that the stadium name?
That is in Paycor, yes.
Yeah. So it's in Paycor. Yeah, TNF for sure. We're not playing that weekend. I know that. But the problem that I have with that is I think that all four of these games should be winnable with this team. But to be completely honest, I think in this stretch, based on what I've seen the last 2 weeks with this defense, we're going to go 1-3 at the best.
So you mentioned Aaron Rodgers a little bit, and I know it's only been 2 weeks. And we've seen against the Jets, his former team, he had a 73.3% completion percentage, 244 yards, and 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions.
Right.
Then against the Seahawks, 54.5% completion percentage, 203 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. 2 very different versions of Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Now, it should also I feel like it should also be noted that the Steelers defense did get 2 interceptions off of Sam Darnold as well. So Aaron Rodgers wasn't the only quarterback who was playing rough, but Sam Darnold also had 295 yards and 2 touchdowns. So kind of take the good with the bad. It was kind of just a Jameis Winston game, I guess. But what do you need to see from Aaron Rodgers in this Patriots game that'll kind of reassure you that he should be the starter?
To be honest, it's really hard for me, and I'm going to cook them again. It's hard for me to justify pulling Aaron Rodgers when, to be honest, I really think the O-line just needs to figure it out. Because I think if the O-line just gave Aaron Rodgers a little bit more time, I think Aaron Rodgers would probably be putting up very similar numbers than he did week 1. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is one of those quarterbacks that's showing his age. I think that he is very much still capable of doing what he can do. Yes, maybe he's never going to be like he was in his prime. And no quarterback when they enter their 40s, other than Tom Brady, are going to ever perform like they were in their 30s. It's just how it is. Or their 20s, whatever you consider the prime to be, which is arguable depending on the quarterback. But that being said, when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, I think that he's just going to have to just, I guess, if the O-line isn't going to fix itself, I think it's just going to have to be a determination of if he's going to be able to play better under pressure. I mean, the Patriots don't have. It's hard to argue that their defense. I don't know, where would you put the Patriots defense in comparison to Seattle's? Because I think Seattle's is probably better than the Patriots in like the pass rush. But
I don't know.
are they that much? I don't know, because like I don't know where you would compare them. Are they the same?
It's hard to say after 2 weeks.
Right. And on top of that, though, I don't think, to be honest, I don't know if the Jets pass rush is all that good. And we got spanked like when it came to that.
Let's see here.
So
I'm looking it up. For what it's worth,
yeah.
For what it's worth, the Seahawks defense is ranked 18th, where the Patriots defense is ranked 25th.
Okay, so a slightly, yeah, but that, okay, where are the Jets?
The Jets defense is 23rd.
Okay, so if these are 18 and 23rd defenses, and we are literally having problems when it comes to pass rush. Yes, Aaron Rodgers had a great game against the 23rd ranked defense in the Jets, but the 18th ranked had 2 picks off of us and just pressured the absolute crap out of Aaron Rodgers. So going in against the Patriots, who are the worst out of the 3, I still worry because they always seem to have our number, no matter whether we're in Pittsburgh or Gillette. I mean, we go back to 2 years ago when it was the 2-10 New England Patriots coming to town against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And yeah, we had Mitchell Trubisky in there, but he freaking threw multiple picks and we lost the game. We lost the game. We should not have lost that game. And we did. And somehow, some way, I wouldn't be surprised if we lost this game against the Patriots this coming week. Now, I'm not really off-sold of Aaron Rodgers yet. I think it needs to be given some time. I really think he needs to struggle. But to be completely honest, like I said before, and like I said again, unless this O-line starts figuring it out and just stops giving these defensive lines so much pressure on Aaron Rodgers, I think no quarterback's going to survive back there. You throw Mason Rudolph back there, he's probably going to be a little rattled because the pressure is going to be coming to him. Now, granted, you throw in Will Howard, younger guy, he's still going to be rattled. I mean, at a point, you would almost need a scrambler back there. You would need somebody that's good on their feet, which would have been great to have Justin Fields back there, wouldn't it have been at this point, because he actually would have been able to run. You probably would have been able to actually run down the field. But no, now we've got Aaron Rodgers, who's not going to move. Mason Rudolph isn't much of a mover either. And Will Howard is probably not going to see the field. I just don't if they're going to throw in a quarterback, they would throw in Mason. And Mason's not a relatively mobile quarterback. Like, he'll move, like he'll try to get that first down, but he's not going to he ain't no Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, jack of all trades type quarterback, but he's good. But I'm not giving up on Rodgers yet. But this team, man, this defense, bad. I honestly think Austin needs to freaking, figure it out, or they need to let him go, because this defense, he lost the defense clearly. And I think the line needs to figure it out too. And I think Caleb Johnson needs to get cut. And yeah.
You're talking about the Steelers defensive coordinator, not
Terrell
not Calvin Austin.
No, not Calvin. No, not okay. Calvin Austin. No.
Yeah,
Calvin Austin does not have any influence on the defense.
Right. I was just clarifying that for people.
I would love to honestly see how Calvin Austin III would run the defense, because Terrell Austin cannot figure it out without Minka. And yes, Deshaun Elliott being out hurts us. Alex Highsmith is also now out, which also hurts us, but we have a lot of linebacker depth, so we should be okay with leaning on some of these young guys. But the veterans need to step up on defense, add that pass rush pressure, be able to stop the run, be able to do well in man coverage or just basic zone coverage. Whatever the heck our safeties are doing, Darius Slay, Jalen Ramsey, stop getting cooked. I don't know what to tell you. Stop getting cooked. You're just Jalen Ramsey. I don't think he's playing bad because, yes, he had that big play that everyone was talking about in that first week against the Jets. I mean, it won us the game. And he had an interception. Like, he's kind of holding his own, but at times I worry about him. He's just I don't think he's not the same Jalen Ramsey as he was. The same thing that we had with Patrick Peterson. It's the same conversation. It's like you're not getting the same Jalen Ramsey, the same Patrick Peterson he was when he was 25, 26, 27. This guy is 31. Patrick Peterson was also around the same age. And so you're expecting these cornerbacks, and the same thing with Darius Slay. Yeah, he had a great year with the Eagles. He's now in his mid 30s. He's probably going to be on his way out here very soon. Age just gets to you. And I don't know why we're deciding to get all these old vets, and that's what we need to do. But sometimes I really wish that we would have just went out of our way to go get Baker Mayfield when he was available.
Okay. So, well, let us know down below what you think of the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Have they lost their image as a team? Has Mike Tomlin lost his defensive charm? Let us know what you think down below. I've got some thoughts though on the Cincinnati Bengals. So
please give me some Cincinnati Bengals thoughts. I mean, that game looked like it was kind of a back and forth contest where I genuinely thought the Jags were coming up on you.
Oh, don't you worry about that. So I've seen a lot of narratives, and I've made 2 new rules for myself this week. I am not responding to comments on Twitter about the Cincinnati Bengals or on Discord servers, and I deleted Reddit. I am not responding to comments if you misspell Zach Taylor's name or you misspell Joe Burrow's name.
How are people spelling Joe Burrow? I mean, Zach Taylor, okay, yeah, I get that, but
they add an S. They call him Joe Burrows.
Oh, yes, the classic Joe Burrows.
I've decided that if you're doing that, then you don't know the team well enough to actually be saying anything. And the reason I came to this conclusion, and we'll talk here about the Andrew Luck comparisons and stuff as well. I'm not going to ignore that. But the reason I've come to this comparison is because I've seen all these people saying, oh, well, Jake Browning's a nobody. Kirk Cousins, you need to trade for Kirk Cousins. The Bengals should be trading for Kirk Cousins or Jameis Winston or, whoever else. I've seen a lot of Kirk Cousins. The Bengals should not trade for Kirk Cousins. And I say this as a Kirk Cousins guy. I have hyped up. You can go back and look at when Kirk Cousins was starting for other teams. I have hyped up Kirk Cousins before. He should not be a Cincinnati Bengal because what the Atlanta Falcons are going to want for him is going to be way too much. First of all. Second of all, they gave him way too big of a contract, which the Bengals would likely have to pay most of. Unless there's some really, really good deal you get on Kirk Cousins, which I doubt you will. The Bengals are not trading for Kirk Cousins. And it just is not. He didn't look great in Atlanta when we last saw him. There's a reason Michael Penix Jr. is starting now. It doesn't make sense to me. Jameis, I can kind of understand. It would be cheaper. It'd be fun. It'd be, this. But, why are we, just all of a sudden selling out on Jake Browning? Bengals fans that were with us 2 years ago, do you remember the Jake Browning hype of 2023? That dude was awesome. Yeah, Chus was here. Chus remembers.
Can I say something? Can I say something? Yeah, Jake Browning. I'm not gonna lie, I actually thought he was pretty clutch, all things considered, for you guys. I mean, for a good backup quarterback, coming from a Steelers fan, I mean, this guy was solid. I mean, you guys finished 9-8 that year, despite all the injuries and everything that happened.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whenever I was rebuilding, and I know I love to use my fantasy comparisons and whatnot, but I had him as a fantasy flex quarterback in a dynasty league. I actually used, and he's still on my bench. I'm very excited to be able to utilize him as a quarterback flex going forward, especially if some of my quarterbacks get hurt. I mean, I don't know why there's disrespect for Jake Browning. Like I said, there was a lot of hope after 9-8. I mean, there was a chance that you guys could have probably snuck in that season. I don't really remember the logistics of how that worked out.
So Jake Browning went 4-3 in the 7 games he started for the Bengals that season in 2023. Phenomenal record? No. But it was enough. It was enough to have them in playoff contention in the final few weeks of the NFL regular season. And that was in a season that the Bengals did not start out 2-0. The Bengals have not started out 2-0 since 2018. The longest tenured Bengal on this roster currently is Drew Sample. He was drafted in 2019. Zach Taylor was not the coach in 2018. This is the first time the Zach Taylor Bengals have started 2-0. And now we have Jake Browning starting. I understand the knee-jerk reaction to Joe Burrow being injured for 3 months. I completely get that. But don't pack it up right now. And I know the casual fan does not know who Jake Browning is. The casual Bengals fan doesn't know who he is. And the casual NFL fan definitely doesn't know who he is. And is he going to, have a great passer rating? Probably not. He'll probably throw an interception or two per game. Totally expect that to happen. However, let's look at, and I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen here so that everyone can look at this together. So we're looking at the Bengals schedule here. So we're 2-0. We've beat the Browns. Big win because that's a division rival. And we beat the Jaguars, okay? Which also, something I want to point out, the Bengals were losing that game when Jake Browning came in. And
he came back and helped you guys win the game.
Yep. And it was a game-winning drive as well. So something of note. Okay. Let's just go to November. Let's get up to November.
We
got Vikings, September 21st. This Sunday.
Okay. Oh, we're going up to November. I thought you were just skipping September and October and just going to November. Why are you doing that?
We're going to see where we're at. I want to take this 1 week at a time. Yeah, and we'll just see. We'll see how Jake does. We'll see how injuries happen. Andrew Siciliano said there were, I think, 54 quarterbacks that started last season, and we could have 37 this week already. So, who knows what's going to happen? Injuries are crazy. And we've seen that with the Vikings already. Vikings don't have J.J. McCarthy. They're starting Carson Wentz. They don't have Aaron Jones. This was a winnable game before J.J. McCarthy went down. I think it's even more winnable now. Okay? I think the Bengals could start 3-0. That puts the Bengals in a very good spot for playoffs. Okay. I don't need Jake Browning to be amazing. I need him to just get us to December. And if we get to December and Joe comes back, okay. Broncos. This game, I could see it going either way. They didn't look great against the Colts, but I do still think their defense is pretty promising. I'm going to give us that win for now. If they just look like crap against the Vikings, I will probably give that to the Broncos. Lions, I think they drop. Packers, I think they drop. Both great teams, both Super Bowl contenders. Like that, there's not really a good way to argue that. Steelers, I think we can win, which you just said that's a losable game for the Steelers as well.
Yeah, I argue. Like I said, I think the problem is regardless of who's in quarterback, I don't know what your offensive line looks like the last 2 weeks, but our pass rush has just been kind of non-existent, and that's crazy for a Steelers team that has like T.J. Watt, Cam Hayward. This team should be really pressuring these quarterbacks, and it just doesn't look like there's any pressure on these quarterbacks at all. So if you're not pressuring Jake Browning, God forbid nothing happens, he's going to be throwing to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins with a Chase Brown running back. The team the offense is still going to be good, and the defense is just decent enough that it'll probably, like, if your pass rush with Trey Hendrickson is just enough, it's gonna be fine. Like, and it's not good for us because we're not good against we're not really. Our offensive line, like I said, is just not good. But yeah, I think it's winnable, especially if it's home.
Yeah, and then I think we can take the Jets. I think that should be winnable no matter what. And then we're already to November, so I've got us going 4-2 up to November 2nd, which would put the Bengals at 6-2. Even if they lose that game to the Broncos, they'll be 5-3, which is still a pretty solid record, especially considering in that time we already have the win over the Browns, and then we're also getting a win over the Steelers in that time. November, the schedule's pretty easy in November, other than this Ravens game here at the end, November 27th. But you get the Bears, the Steelers again, and the Patriots. Maybe they go 1-1 against the Steelers. I don't know. Joe comes back around this time that they play the Bills and the Ravens, and those could easily be losable games. That's kind of where we get to the point where we're like, okay, let's see where we are. Let's see if Joe's coming back. Those are the question mark type stuff. And we're not even close to talking about that yet. But if Joe can come back and they're still in contention in December and they have to finish out with the Dolphins, the Cardinals, and the Browns, they should go 3-0 to finish out the season, even if they drop these Bills and Ravens games.
No, I agree.
I think the Bengals can still make the playoffs very easily.
I mean, you guys have an easy enough schedule that it should be possible. It's just making sure that everything kind of goes right. If your team stays healthy and you're very minimal on injuries, minus Joe Burrow being hurt for 3 months, this team could still be a pretty well-rounded team going into playoffs. I don't know how high of a seed you guys would be. I feel like your ceiling to an extent would probably be 6? You think 6 would be a ceiling? Like probably 10-7, 11-6.
Like I said, I want to take it week by week. With Joe Burrow, if Joe Burrow's coming back, all you need is to get in. He's just one of those guys. You mentioned the offensive line earlier, and this is another thing we're gonna talk about. The Bengals O-line. So let's back up for a second. I've seen this comparison of Joe Burrow to Andrew Luck. Joe Burrow has been sacked more than Andrew Luck was in his career in less games. I think it's like 71 games versus 84 games. And Joe Burrow's already been sacked like 20, 30 more times maybe. Who is to blame? That is the question. And so a lot of people, and this is just something we do as humans, everyone wants it to be a simple black and white answer with absolutely no nuance to it. Just, I want to be able to point my finger at something, say that's what needs to be fixed, or that's who's to blame. And we do that with everything, especially complex things, and football is a complex game. I've been thinking about this for a while.
I can tell.
It is a statistical fact that the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line plays better with Jake Browning than they do with Joe Burrow. Now, is this because the Bengals offensive line hates Joe Burrow? No, of course not. That is a silly, stupid narrative that I saw a few people saying online. But against the Jaguars, and this is a small sample size, the overall pass blocking grade for the Bengals O-line was 49.9. With Jake Browning on the field, it was 73.1. Okay, that's a small sample size. So let's go back to 2023. In 2023, it was 67.2 with Browning and 54.6 with Burrow. Same offensive line. So what is happening here? Is the Bengals offensive line phenomenal? Great. No one's saying. I am not saying that. Could the Bengals have invested more into their offensive line? 100%. No one's arguing that. However, this is part of the nuance. I am not going to just say the Bengals have put out 30 new guys, 30 guys on this offensive line, and all of them have sucked. That doesn't make any sense. That's a terrible argument, in my opinion. They have a new offensive line coach too, so you can't even point to Frank Pollock anymore. Okay, so let's point to Zach Taylor. He's been another consistency. Why does Zach Taylor coach differently with Jake Browning than he does with Joe Burrow? Well, of course he's going to coach better with Jake Browning. You're gonna lean more on the run game, and defenses don't worry about the run game as much with Joe Burrow, because Joe Burrow will just, throw the ball over the top of you and go for a 50-yard pass to Jamar Chase. He doesn't care. And they're different quarterbacks. They're going to be coached differently. Could Zach Taylor lean more on the run with Joe Burrow in the game? 100%. Again, we're blaming multiple people here. And up to this point, everyone's okay with blaming Zach Taylor. Everyone's okay with blaming the offensive line. And mind you, Dalton Reisner took blame for Joe Burrow getting hurt as well. So the offensive line is blaming themselves as well. But that still doesn't explain the bad grade. And I really do think, and this is where I would blame Zach Taylor more. I think that Joe Burrow does not do his offensive line a lot of good when it comes to his playing style. And that's a really hard pill for a lot of Bengals fans to swallow. But let's think about this. What is the thing that Bengals fans love, NFL fans love about Joe Burrow? He extends plays. He'll run around, get chased, he'll find someone, he'll throw people open. It's great. It's fun to watch. It's highlight material. However, the other hand of that is the entire time Joe Burrow is running around in the backfield, some of the offensive linemen are still trying to block for him. 2 seconds is a long time in the NFL. 3 seconds is nearly impossible. You get to 5 seconds and you're doing that on multiple plays in a row. Those guys are getting exhausted. They're doing that over and over again. 300-pound men trying to move 300-pound men. Everyone's going full speed. That's a lot. And so I think that and the part of Joe Burrow, he's always like wanting to go into spread offenses. He almost never lines up under center. He's always in shotgun. It just creates a ton of stress on the offensive line. It creates a ton of pressure on that offensive line, which it's okay to say to Joe Burrow, yes, what we love that you're able to do this, but learn to throw away the ball, please. And that's what I would like Zach Taylor to say to him. I would love for Zach Taylor as the coach to come to Joe Burrow and say, we don't need you to play hero ball all the time. We know that, like, it's just the way Joe's a competitor, and we love that about Joe. And he doesn't want there to ever be a broken play in his game. But if you want to stay healthy, it is in his best interest to throw the ball away sometimes. And this is not hating on Joe Burrow. It is okay to criticize Joe Burrow if it means his longevity is at stake. And so I'm blaming all three. I'm blaming Zach Taylor. I'm blaming the offensive line, who already took credit for it. And I'm blaming Joe Burrow. And I don't think that that's an unfair take. When you look at the game, when you look at how Joe plays the game, and yet if he's going to extend plays every so often, that's fine. That's great. Love that. Don't do it every play, though, because you're going to get your guys killed. And it just leads to injuries. I've been wanting to say that for days. So
I'm glad you could get that off your chest, Josh. I'm glad that you could finally get that off your chest.
A lot. I would love to, I want Joe Burrow to, play as long as he can. So that's it comes from a place of love, not a place of hate. So
you don't think this has anything to do with obviously you mentioned like the quarterback playing styles and whatnot, but you don't think that the offensive line plays a little harder just because they know that Jake Browning is the backup quarterback with less experience and they play a little bit more lax just because Joe Burrow is Joe Burrow and they have more confidence in him? Do you think it would be something like that as a possibility?
No, I think Jake Browning tends to line up under center more often. And when you have that, there's a chance that it could be a pass, but it could also be a run. When Joe Burrow's on the field, that it's 90% of the time going to be a pass play, which means the defensive ends can sell out for the pass and just tee off on that. They don't have to look at the running back. I'd like to see more, if we're going to keep doing that, see more 12 personnel with blocking tight ends and then get a big blocking running back in there. But with Jake Browning, you're handing the ball off more to Chase Brown. And then even when you're passing, you're doing it more of a screen pass or a shorter, just check down pass, which is fine. I mean, if that's what you need to do to win, that's what you need to do. But it's a different offensive scheme with Jake Browning in the game.
Right.
So I think this is a winnable. I think the Bengals can still make it to the playoffs from here. where they stand right now. I mean, the defense has come up clutch 2 weeks in a row with turnovers. They have been playing decent. They've come up with red zone turnovers, which are key. I mean, they're not completely folding like they were last year. Shamar Stewart has an ankle injury, so that's something to monitor. But I don't know. I just feel something in my heart makes me think Jake Browning could do it. If he can just get us to December and have us in contention, and Joe can come back. Now, if Joe, like, if something happens and Joe can't come back, okay, that's a different conversation. And like I said, we're taking it week by week. But I don't think this team is automatically awful because Joe Burrow isn't it.
Right. No, and I agree with that.
But I might regret this. But let me know what you think down below. Who's to blame? Obviously, I think there's multiple people to blame. I don't think it's an easy one-way thing. But you let me know your thoughts on the Cincinnati Bengals. Could they have done more for Joe Burrow? Yes. Is it all on the front office? I don't think so, but definitely some of the blame is there. Let's get happier though. Dude, like giant
The train.
No, that was a semi truck.
Oh wow! Like, didn't you say you have like trains near your house too?
Yeah, I do. I don't know if they heard that, but that was loud. He was like speeding down this back road. Anyway, the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah. What about those Indianapolis Colts?
Last year I said they were going to be sneaky good. No one was expecting it. It was going to be a shock offensively to everyone. And then this year I said they're going to suck. I don't believe in them at all. I think this team is terrible. Well, I flipped the 2 seasons apparently because the Indianapolis Colts are the first team in NFL history to not punt through week 2. They were going to punt week 1 against the Dolphins, but then they ran into the punt. The Dolphins ran into the punter. So that's a problem. Can't do that. So they didn't end up punting. They ended up getting the first down. But this guy, Mr. Daniel Jones, came into Indianapolis with a chip on his shoulder, and no one really believed in him. I gotta admit that. I'm sorry, Daniel. They're good. They're good. Tyler Warren.
Yeah.
First round tight end.
I love Tyler Warren.
Dude, Tyler Warren is fun. Big fan of Tyler Warren. He has been leading some of my fantasy teams to victory almost single-handedly. I love what the Colts have brought in. He kind of reminds me of Dallas Clark a little bit for some of my older Colts fans. I loved watching Dallas Clark as a kid. But Tyler Warren, big addition. It just the everything about this team is just so much better than it was last year. I'm excited. Did you expect this at all from the Indianapolis Colts?
No, I mean, we watched the first game and me and you both kind of mentioned it. We're like, well, it's the Dolphins. They're kind of having some issues on both sides of the ball. I mean, there's a lot of problems over there. I mean, it's one game and then they come and they beat Denver by 1. I mean, it's granted they're winning like, that game they won like a very tight margin, but I mean, go figure. Denver has been a favorite amongst many to be, pretty good like throughout the entire season, regardless of Bo Nix having a sophomore slump or not. A lot of people are very high on Denver. I'm very high on Denver. So to pick up a big win, over them is pretty good, especially going 2-0 with new quarterback, a couple new players in the offense and defensive scheme. I mean, I'm thoroughly impressed, genuinely. I mean, last year we talked about it. This year, I don't expect Anthony Richardson to see the field as of right now. I'm very shocked. A lot of people always say like people were skeptical online about it. It's one of those things for me where I truly believe in change of scenery sometimes. And Daniel Jones might be another person, another quarterback, another player to write down that has a positive impact when it comes to change of scenery. And I mean, I think it's early on, but I think he's been very impressive in these first 2 weeks.
I I'll admit, I did not think change of scenery was going to do it for Daniel Jones. I didn't think that this was the place. But I did like his connection with Tyler Warren in the preseason, and that has carried over. Another
Right.
another thing that some people may not have noticed as much is he's got a good connection with Josh Downs as well. So that's going to help him out a lot from the slot. The defense has been playing well. Indianapolis Colts might steal the AFC South. And kind of
I think it's
shockingly,
possible. But
with
to be honest, I don't think Houston's playing all that good. I think they're fine, but I'm not impressed right now with CJ Stroud in the slightest. This Texans team does not look like a contender for the AFC South right now. I think out of the four teams, I think your biggest contender would be the Colts.
Yeah, Colts have been playing well. They do have a division game here against the Titans, which Cam Ward threw his first touchdown on Sunday. It was a
Yeah.
beauty. If you have not seen that, look it up. I can't show it. I haven't figured out the video lag on here. Otherwise, I would show it. But he gets chased out of the pocket to his right. I think he drops back about 20 yards. And he throws across his body to the far left side of the end zone to a wide receiver on the move. I forget who it was, but it was the hardest possible throw that you could make as a quarterback, and it was his first ever touchdown as a rookie. So, shout out Cam Ward. But the Colts,
Yeah, I mean, I will say real quick with the Titans though, just kind of like bouncing off of them real quick. I think I think Cam Ward is gonna be good, but I think the problem is Cam Ward doesn't really have a team around him yet to really argue about him being possibly good. I mean, this was a very similar conversation you could have with like Trevor Lawrence when he first went to Jacksonville, or even arguably when Joe Burrow first went to Cincinnati. But then again, he also got hurt that year too. So right, didn't he get hurt his rookie season? Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I mean, it's
ACL,
hard to argue
Chase
that.
Young.
Right.
Yeah, I think Cam Ward's going to be good. That was just a very impressive throw to me. I wanted to make sure people saw that because I don't know that how many people were actually paying attention to the Titans on Sunday. But the Colts are really impressing me right now, and the Colts they've got a fairly easy schedule, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. That Rams game will be a test at the end of September here, but after that they got Raiders, Cardinals, and then Chargers, and then Titans again. So I mean, uh, again, take it week by week, but I'm very thoroughly impressed with what Daniel Jones has brought to the Indianapolis Colts. In a season where
I
they're
agree.
honoring Jim Irsay and Carly Irsay Gordon is on the sideline with a headset on. She's in the
I love it.
trenches with them.
Yeah, I love it.
She's taking notes too.
I
I
love
don't.
it. Yeah.
Obviously, I've never talked to her. I've never met her, but she seems to know her stuff, and so I'm wondering if that's kind of the
I
pressures
imagine that's
on for
probably
Shane
helping
Steichen.
too. Yeah.
But just wanted to give the Indianapolis Colts a shout out. Get them on your fantasy roster. Start getting those bets in. But week 3's coming up. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. I mean, I've already given my opinion on that game against the Patriots for the Steelers. The Colts play the Titans. Should be a good game. They're in Nissan Stadium, which weirdly enough, when does Nissan Stadium change stadiums? Isn't it coming up in like 2 years? Don't we get a new Nissan Stadium?
You mean the Titans are building a new stadium, or what are
Yeah, aren't
you?
they building a new stadium?
I didn't know that.
I thought they were building a new stadium.
Let's ask
Doesn't matter.
Google. The Stadium
Right.
Project. Apparently, they
New
are.
stadium. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was supposed to be done in 27. So
Yeah. The target date for completion remains February 2027.
yeah, look at me knowing my stadiums.
Oh my gosh. While we've got a little bit of time, are you concerned about the Chiefs at all?
I think me and you've talked about this before. Maybe it wasn't you, but maybe it was somebody else. I think it was also somebody else. It's hard to count out the Chiefs until they're completely counted out. That's the only problem. Am I concerned? Maybe. division rival game, and then you're also playing the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, and you only lose both games by, what was it, one possession week 1, and it was only 3 week 2. I don't think it's too. I think it's too soon to say worried, especially with Worthy coming back. So that being said, I think just give it some time. I'm sure they'll probably. Who do they play this week?
The
Do we know?
Giants on Sunday Night Football.
Well, I mean, I guess I can't really argue against the Giants right now because the Giants had themselves a crazy week 2 game against the Dallas Cowboys, with Russell Wilson throwing over 400 yards, and that game was just unreal. I mean, it very well could lean back into the Giants' favor. We just don't know. But answering that question, I don't think Kansas City is going to go to the Super Bowl this year. I don't think that they're going to be a top seed. Like, I don't think they're going to be 1 or 2. This is the best way that I've described it is this right now. What's happening to Kansas City is exactly how it should have been last year. They're not winning the clutch games. Like last year, this Eagles game, it would have been probably what a 24-17, 24-20 final. And that would have been the game. It would have been a weird fluke thing, and they would have won the game 24-20. And last year, if we looked back at the stats, like despite them having a crazy record, a lot of the games were very close, and they were just like it was determined by one play, one bad call, one good catch, one good play, one bad play, whatever it ended up being, all the way to the end. And when they finally met a team that was very, very good, they got absolutely spanked. And this year, the team is still fine. I mean, they're coming off a runner-up Super Bowl and 2 years of winning back-to-back. Team is still not the same as it was maybe in 2023. But I think for this team, I think, you can't count them out completely, but I definitely think that this is the year where they're having more of the it's not in their favor. A lot of the time so far, these first 2 games, they have not tipped in their favor. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see it continue. I just don't see this team being like a 15 is going to go on a 15 win streak after this. Like, I just don't see it happening. Yeah, I mean, I still think that division is very much up for grabs too. I mean, who's leading the division right now? Is it the Chargers? Is that who's 2-0 right now? Or is it it's not the Broncos. It's not the Raiders. I'm pretty sure it's the Chargers. I'm pretty sure they're 2-0.
Chargers, Broncos, Raiders, Chiefs.
No, that's crazy.
Broncos and Raiders are tied.
Right, 1-1. And then Chiefs are 0-2. Like I said, I think it's way too early to count them out. What do you think?
I think this Giants game will be telling. If they struggle, they'll probably they should win. But if they struggle against the Giants, that'll tell us something, I think. So,
well, hopefully for your sake, if the Bengals do make the playoffs, let's hope that we get if the Kansas City Chiefs do win the division, let's hope that they get the 3 seed so that the Bengals can go into Arrowhead and knock them off their high horse. And that would be fun.
I think I'd rather them just not get in.
I mean, that would be good too. I mean, I think there's a lot of very good AFC teams this year. I mean, I think there's better NFC teams, in my opinion, that are going to get left off the board. But I think we could go a year without the Chiefs. I think we could go a year without the Chiefs.
Okay. Well, on that note, let us know what you think about that and all the other stuff we talked about today. Will the Cincinnati Bengals make not the Super Bowl? Well, they might. Will they make the playoffs? Will the Pittsburgh Steelers find their defensive identity again? And are the Indianapolis Colts going to win the AFC South just like nobody expected? And if you say you were, you're lying. Anyway, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It's a 5-second thing for you, if that, but it means the world to us. It's a huge deal as far as the YouTube algorithm goes. So until next time, make sure you go and do something nice for someone.